The airlock alarm screams before I even open my eyes. Red light floods the cabin. Someone is cutting through my outer hatch, and they are not being polite about it. I am Owen Hale, hauling a cargo of refined ore through the Kessa corridor, 3 days from the nearest patrol lane, completely alone, except for one small, unimpressed passenger curled up in a crate near the cockpit. Her name is Biscuit. She is a cat. Nothing more, nothing less. At least, that is what I think, as I grab my jacket and run for the bridge. The corridor has a reputation. Ships go quiet here. Cargo disappears. Crews turn up on distress beacons with nothing left to say. I always thought it would not happen to me, because who wastes time robbing a single human freighter with barely any escort and barely any weapons? Apparently, someone does. The hatch groans, then gives way with a metallic shriek. 3 figures step through the smoke, tall and thin, wrapped in patched armor that has seen better decades. Their leader has yellow eyes that catch the light strangely, like a cat's do, though I do not know that yet. He raises a weapon toward me and speaks in broken trade language. "Cargo now! No trouble, human!" I lift my hands slowly. My heart is pounding, but I keep my voice calm, the way you are supposed to when someone is pointing something dangerous at your chest. "Take it. Just take it and go." He grins, showing teeth that are a little too sharp to be comfortable. His 2 companions fan out behind him, scanning the corridors, checking corners like they have done this 100 times before. Maybe they have. Maybe that is exactly the problem, because a crew this practiced does not expect anything to go wrong on a ship this small. That is when I hear the soft thud of paws hitting the floor behind me. Biscuit has woken up. She strolls out from the shadow of the crate, tail high, moving with that unbothered, unhurried grace that every cat owner knows, and every cat owner takes completely for granted. She stops a few feet from the pirates, sits down, and looks at them the way she looks at anything that dares interrupt her nap, calm, steady, utterly unimpressed. The effect is immediate, and it is not what I expect. The leader's confident posture breaks in an instant. His weapon drops half an inch, his eyes go wide, and for the first time since he stepped onto my ship, he looks less like a hunter and more like something being hunted. "What," he says slowly, "is that?" I glance at Biscuit, then back at him, genuinely confused. That's my cat. He does not seem to hear me. His attention is locked completely on her, the way you would watch a predator you suddenly realized was much closer than you thought. One of his companions makes a low sound in his throat, something between a growl and a whimper, and takes a step back toward the hatch. I do not understand what is happening yet, but I decide not to interrupt it. Biscuit blinks at them slowly, the kind of long, lazy blink she gives me right before she decides to headbutt my hand for attention. To me, it means she is comfortable. To them, apparently, it means something else entirely. The leader's voice cracks. "It has marked us." "It hasn't marked anyone," I say, though I have no idea what marking even means to them. "She's just looking at you." "That is how they look before they decide," he says, and there is real fear in his voice now, the kind that does not fake itself. Before the strike, I am starting to piece together what might be happening. On some worlds, predators do not posture before they attack. They do not growl or bare teeth as a warning. The truly dangerous ones stay calm, completely relaxed, right up until the moment they are not. If that is the kind of predator these pirates grew up fearing, then a small animal strolling toward them with total confidence, completely unbothered by 3 armed strangers, would look less like a house pet and more like something that has already decided the outcome of this encounter and is simply waiting for the right moment. Biscuit chooses this exact instant to stretch, extending her front paws forward, claws sliding out and back in with a small, quiet click. It is the most ordinary thing in the world. She does this every single day, usually right before demanding breakfast. The pirate crew reacts like she has just drawn a blade. The one nearest the hatch actually yelps, a short, sharp sound of pure alarm, and stumbles backward into the doorframe. The third one raises his weapon, not at me, but at Biscuit, hands shaking so badly the barrel wavers all over the room. My stomach drops. Whatever is happening, whatever they think she is about to do, I cannot let that weapon stay pointed at her for one more second. "Hey," I say sharply, stepping directly into the line of fire, angling myself between them and her. "Look at me. Not her, me." For a moment, nobody moves. The leader's eyes flick from Biscuit to me, and back again, like he is trying to work out which one of us is the real danger, and which one is just an accessory to it. I realize, with a strange kind of clarity, that they have no idea what I am. They know humans are strong. They know we do not scare easily. But they have never once considered that a human might also be walking around casually with a live predator as a companion, treating it the same way they might treat a houseplant. "She's harmless," I say, keeping my voice level, keeping my hands visible. "She sleeps 16 hours a day. She's scared of vacuum cleaners." "Put the weapon down." The leader does not lower his weapon, but he does not raise it either. He is staring at Biscuit again, and I notice something new in his expression now, something calculating underneath the fear. "If it is truly yours," he says slowly, "command it to stand down." I almost laugh, because anyone who has ever owned a cat knows exactly how well commands work on them. But laughing feels like the wrong move right now, so instead, I crouch down, keeping my movements slow and deliberate, and hold out my hand toward her. "Biscuit. Come here, girl." She looks at my hand, looks at me, and then, in an act of perfect feline timing, decides that now is exactly the moment to ignore me completely and instead trot straight toward the pirates. Every one of them scrambles backward at once. The one by the hatch trips over a loose cable and goes down hard, more startled than hurt, scrambling immediately back to his feet with wide, panicked eyes. The leader backs into the wall, weapon forgotten at his side, both hands raised now, like he is surrendering to a creature 100 times his size. Biscuit stops in the middle of the room, sits down again, and starts licking her paw like nothing at all unusual is happening. That small, mundane action seems to be the final straw. It is one thing to fear a predator that is stalking you. It is another thing entirely to watch it stop mid-pursuit, to casually groom itself, as if you are so far beneath its notice that it does not even need to finish whatever it was doing. "We surrender," the leader says quickly, weapon clattering to the floor. "We surrender the boarding, please. Call it off." I stare at him for a second, letting the moment settle, and I realize this is the part where I actually have to decide what to do next. These are still armed intruders on my ship, regardless of what has just happened. But they are also 3 people who look genuinely terrified, backed into a corner by a house cat who has never hurt anything larger than a moth in her entire life. "Weapons on the floor," I say, using the calm, steady tone I would use talking someone down from a bad decision. "All of them. Slide them toward me." They comply immediately, hands shaking, eyes darting constantly toward Biscuit, like she might change her mind at any second, and decide the encounter is not actually over. I collect the weapons, keeping myself between them and my cat the whole time, though by this point, I am fairly sure she has lost interest in all of us, and is simply enjoying the extra attention. "Get back to your shuttle," I tell them. Slowly, no sudden moves. She startles easily. That last part is not even a lie, though not in the way they think. Biscuit startles at thunderstorms, at vacuum cleaners, at plastic bags. But I let them believe whatever version of the truth keeps them moving calmly back through the airlock, without anyone getting hurt. The leader pauses at the hatch, looking back one last time, not at me, but at her. "What is it called?" he asks quietly. "The species." "Cat," I say. "Common house cat. We keep them as companions. Most of them are exactly this dangerous." He does not respond to that. He simply nods, slow and stiff, the nod of someone who has just learned something about the universe he did not want to know, and disappears through the hatch with his crew close behind him. I seal the airlock the moment their shuttle detaches, and I do not breathe easily until their signal fades completely off my scanner. Biscuit, meanwhile, has abandoned her spot in the middle of the room and jumped up onto the console beside me, purring loudly, rubbing her head against my arm like absolutely nothing eventful has happened in the last 10 minutes. You, I tell her, scratching behind her ears, have no idea what you just did. She blinks at me slowly, the same blink that apparently reads as a death sentence to an entire species of pirates 3 systems over, and then she yawns and curls up to go back to sleep. I do not know if that pirate crew will ever board another human ship again. I do not know what stories they will tell when they get back to wherever crews like that go, but I have a feeling that somewhere out there, in whatever rough corners of space pirates trade information, a new rule is about to get passed around. Do not board the ships with cats. Nobody who repeats it will be able to explain exactly why. They will just remember the eyes, the stillness, the slow blink right before everything went wrong for them, and they will decide it is easier to find an easier target somewhere else. As for me, I go back to piloting my quiet little freighter through a corridor that suddenly feels a little safer than it did an hour ago, with my very dangerous, very sleepy cat curled up beside the controls, snoring softly, like the universe's smallest, most unbothered guardian.